It is easy for me to swim with the wave and not tweet out of tone, but I will lose my self and credibility. This point actually pushed me to dig deeper and deeper inside the sources to find the history and the story of Oriental dancing and belly dancing, of course. But it was not so easy because all of these sources are not so easy to find what you want or what you search for. Also, to share in the end all these information with you to let you understand exactly the good and the bad, the right and the wrong things, which became much more famous all over the world. A lot of wrong information all over the world now about our dancing, and of course make us all the time feel confused and not understand exactly what's around us and what's going on actually. This is exactly the main core of my video for today, which I hope you like it. Let us go now and see exactly together what I found and I hope you like it. The story began from the ordinary people and of course some of the scientists who they are not involved in dancing, but they were looking from their windows. So for this reason they made all of this mess, or let me say all of this chaos around us. In the end, most of the dancers tried also to find solution to understand exactly or to clarify the story and the history of dancing, especially the Oriental dance and belly dancing. Why? Because this type of art, it's not so easy to find its deep story or when it's begun exactly or what had happened around it, but just only a few years ago or something like that, some dancers began to search deep to find exactly all these points, or let me say all these hidden points. Let me start from the beginning, or in the beginning of life, what many scientists, specialists in anthropology, talking about dancing actually, and some of them try to connect between the people this time long ago, what they did or what they performed exactly, and they connected with belly dancing, which is weird for me or strange, yes, also. The childbirth, which is very strange when I hear that ancient Egyptians used belly dancing, helping them for childbirth, which is very strange actually. Why belly dancing? Why? This is one of the questions I asked myself, and I tried a lot to search to find something, any information can tell me or can explain to me actually if they used it like this way or it helped them long ago or something like that. But what I found that there are no information about this point actually since long time, since this time until now. But this is one of the fantasy of the ordinary people tried also all the time to let us feel or think the same, as it is very important type of art, and we had this art since long time. This is one point. Another point actually, some of the dancers, especially teachers, also talk about this point, and they tried all the time to emphasize that these people used this type of dance since long time, which is also very strange. Let me tell you that any type of movements, very easy movements, can help women when they have a child or when they have childbirth, to help them, something like that. It is very easy, not exactly belly dancing or Oriental dancing. Also, I haven't any source talking about this point. Actually, they explained what was or what's going on in this time long ago, or these people used this type of, especially this type of art. Ancient Egyptians used all of these types of dancing, or as we say dancing now, which is a little bit also strange, because these types of dancing or these types of movements were belongs to the temple, inside the temple. The Egyptian civilization, it is not normal civilization like many people think. It's created or it's built on to the religion, so it is religion civilization. This point we have to keep in mind all the time when we're going to study the Egyptian civilization since long time, the ancient Egyptian civilization. So it is not so easy like that to say that they were dancing like this way or they were doing something like that without religion. So the religion is completely different than the ordinary life. We have to do something. It is exactly the same as the priests can explain to us or what we believe, not something we feel and then we go move and do it like this way in ordinary life. So this is the difference, very quickly, the difference between the ancient Egyptians time or the religion in this time or the civilization's religion in this time and now. So we have to keep in mind this point to let us understand exactly what was going on. Also, if we going through the history looking for this term belly dancing or oriental dancing, immediately we will find that it is very new and it is not so easy to find it throughout the history. I mean the old history. Of course, it is so easy to know exactly that these people long ago, they were dancing or they were doing something in their lifestyle, which is sometimes related to the religion and sometimes go out of the religion. Please write me down if you want to know more about it. I will explain to you much more about it. Also, it is very strange for me that a lot of dancers and dance teachers didn't pay attention to Manetho. This guy, he is very strange, or let me say this priest, he is very strange and very important use also for us. I will not tell you his story or the history of him, but he was in the Ptolemaic kingdom, and the king asked him to write a book talking about Egypt, the history of Egypt. And this book very important for all of us because he explained everything about Egypt since long time, over 10,000 years ago, until he wrote this book. He authored actually the Egyptana or Egyptica book. And also he wrote about dancing at this time and how these people in ancient Egyptians time danced or performed in front of the food, in front of the fire, and how they celebrate their things and something like that. Why people or why dancers, or let me say why teachers didn't read his book to understand exactly what was going on in this time long ago. But all the time they using the fantasy stories about dancing, and they tried all the time to connect this type of dance, oriental dancing and belly dancing, to the ancient Egyptians time without going to this book or to his book. We have two books of him talking about this time long ago, which is very strange that no one of us tried to understand exactly this time to know the truth of these people long ago. When we're going to talk about belly dancing, for example, the dance steps or its dance steps, it belongs to the seduction steps, which is very important for us. I cannot say that the seduction dance steps very new or something like that. It's throughout the history with a human. So men used it, women used it to, or used them to explain what's inside them, the feeling inside them, and what's going on when they have their partners. So this is something completely different than the way we are thinking now for the belly dancing, which coming from this time until now or something like this. If we look through the history to search about belly dancing or oriental dancing, immediately we will find that the belly dancing term appeared first. And we have several stories about belly dancing and oriental dancing and all these points like that. But one of these stories about the French campaign when they entered Egypt long ago, around 1798. When they entered Egypt, they watched the Gawazi in the streets here in Egypt, and they didn't find any word to explain what they do in front of them or they perform it in front of them. But suddenly some of them, of their scientists, created, as the story said, created this term, which it is dance du ventre, which it means exactly belly dancing, belly dancing. If we look through the history or search through the Egyptian history about belly dancing or any type of belly dancing, we will not find something like that. We haven't any type of dance belongs to belly as the meaning of this word. So this is a foreign term, as you know now. This is one story. Another story said that the British colony, when they entered Egypt, or let me say the British colony in Egypt, it was around 1882. Also the same story, but they changed the soldiers, the French soldiers, to be English soldiers. They watched the Gawazi once more again. They watched the Gawazi in the streets and they wanted to explain this performance in front of them. So for this reason, they used belly dancing. So the same stories in front of us now. You can choose any one of them. I'm not, or I will not say that this story it is the correct one and the other not, or something like that. But these two common stories talking about belly dancing and how this term appeared on the surface of art all over the world. And also another story talking about a reporter, or a journal reporter wrote an article about dancing, and he wrote something like that. A lot of stories, by the way, but the two common stories I explained to you. If I want to explain the history of belly dancing as it is like this way, and I give it or I put it to a special place, I will be wrong, because as I told you, the belly dancing full of seduction dance steps and little of folk dance steps. So in many places all over the Orient, or many countries all over the Orient, you will find immediately that they have also something looks like belly dancing. So it is not so easy to say that it is an Egyptian belly dancing, or it is or coming from Egypt, the origin of belly dancing coming from Egypt, or from Levant area, Lebanese or something like that, or Iraq or something like this way. It is not so easy. This is exactly, very quickly, the story once more again about the term, belly dancing term. But there is something I have to explain to you. The gate to let you understand exactly the belly dancing, or to know exactly the belly dancing steps, to understand the belly dancing steps, it is the baladi dance, Egyptian dance, of course. We created the belly dance as I explained to you before, and you can find a lot of stories in my videos about it, and to let you understand exactly what is or what it was looks like. So this is the gate of belly dancing. But what about the Oriental dance? The Oriental dance, as I explained you before, and also I explained to many of my students, it is a collection of many or different types of dances from everywhere all over the Orient countries. These types of, or these forms of dance steps, the Jawari collected them to use them in the end to create their choreography, what we call it in the end Oriental dancing. It was inside the Arab palaces. I cannot say that the Arab palaces in Egypt or in Tunisia, Algeria or Morocco, or also in the Arab countries. I cannot say something like that, but the main place in this time long ago was Baghdad. So I can say actually it comes from the Caliph in Baghdad, and they spread it after that all over the Arab countries. I cannot say that it is an Egyptian Oriental dance, the origin is Egypt, or also again any other country, Arab country. No. It belongs to all of the Orient. When Jawari, or when the Muslims this time long ago collected all of these Jawari from everywhere all over the world, especially Orient world, and each one of them created part or some steps from her culture inside these choreographies, which in the end we say, or we give it this name or this term, what we call it now, Oriental dancing. So this is exactly the most important point I have to share with you. I love to share with you to let you understand exactly the difference between the Oriental dancing and belly dancing. Another point, very important point, who let this term to be appear everywhere all over the world? That's exactly the American. When the dancers in the USA used this form of dance, and they tried in the end to spread it everywhere all over the world under this term of belly dancing, so it became now very famous because of the American. So this is also another point I love to share with you. This is the story very quickly about the Oriental dancing and belly dancing. And of course, I know exactly that there are still much more fantasy stories about both the Oriental dancing and belly dancing everywhere all over the world. Depends on the fantasy of the dancers, sometimes also the teachers, and the way the scientists, especially the anthropologists, used it, trying to help us understand exactly the story and the history of this type of dance form. I love very much to receive your opinion, your comments, and also your questions. If you have any questions about this topic, you can write me down, and of course you can visit once more again all of these videos I created about this type of dance, and I explained much more about it. So thank you very much, and I will be waiting for you once more again in this video. You will see it here, and see you very soon again here.